Hello, you little sinners and saints. 'Tis I, Jennifer Benavides again. I'm here either to annoy you, entertain you, or educate you. I'm not sure which one. Today we're going to do the Greyhound bus case. If you've not heard of it, you are in for a treat. Okay. Greyhound bus murder. Me. I should have added some more warnings. I got one more warning or two I could put in here. Killer's fault. Okay, this is Tim McLean. He went through quite a bit. Um, Before we begin, I want to go ahead and say that my name is Jennifer Benavides. Um, I started filming this earlier and I screwed it up. So I was like, fuck it, we'll redo it. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, I want to do a video on some other people too, but we'll talk about that later. Okay. So today we're going to talk about Tim McLean and the Greyhound bus situation. It's pretty awful and it's weird. So I guess I will shut up and let's get into it. Tim McLean was born October 3rd, 1985. He grew up on outside of Winnipeg, Canada, in a small town called Ely, Manitoba. And it's one of those little small towns that where you grow up, you really have to make up your own fun. Um, in small towns, like build little mud huts and stuff. Did anybody else build mud huts? Was I the only one, me and Andy? But anyway, Tim's friends would say that he was very outgoing. He loved people. He was not shy. And if he got invited somewhere, he would go, and when he entered the room, he would be able to go up to anybody and make friends. And there's a lot of people I think got envious of that, but that has nothing to do with the story. That's a side note. Side note, people. Um, Tim loved just going up and meeting people, seeing new like people. One summer when he was 22, his lifelong friend since childhood had called him and was like, "Hey, what are you doing this summer?" Sorry, wrong computer. What are you doing this summer? And wanted to know if they wanted to pack his bags for about a week and come up and help them out. He said he's got a job opportunity for him. It's kind of like we were doing the carnival thing, carnies, where they travel around from city to city. Um, they work the different games and stuff. It wasn't going to be a permanent job, but it was like a quick little thing. Then it turned into a long summer job. For the whole summer, it seemed like a lot of fun, but like everybody at work was really close with each other, and they become like a little tight knit family, pretty much, who travels from city to city. So you're constantly seeing new places, new cities, meeting new people. Um, so it was like the perfect job for Tim to take because he loved traveling and he loved meeting new people. He seemed to like find his passion, and yet he was very passionate about his job. And honestly, at 22, that sounds like fun. Asking for a job or getting a job that where you travel around, meet new people and stuff. Dun, dun, dun. She's making money. Okay, and so this was a good summer job for him. Now at this time, I think he had a girlfriend. I'm not really quite sure. It was kind of hard to find a lot of information um, on Tim's upbringing and background and stuff and pictures. I want to say, I watched something one time and it showed, I've got a video we're going to watch, and it might be, I don't know if it's that video, but it showed, maybe it was a reenactment, I don't know, but it showed inside the bus at the time of the attack. Getting ahead of myself. Not a lot of information again on his upbringing, background stuff. He had a girlfriend, I think, or they just might be kind of like hanging out. And her name was Colleen, and he knew her ever since the first grade. After high school and all that, they went their separate ways. This Colleen lady ended up getting married, and then she got divorced. And her and Tim started hanging out after she got a divorce, and this was like in 2008. So it's kind of like they rekindled their little friendship or whatever. So not long after that, Colleen was pregnant. This will be her third child. So she had two from a previous marriage, and this would be Tim's first child. And he went back to working with the carnival. And at this time, it was at Edmonton. And the carnival's next stop was routine, routine. And then when Tim made a crucial decision, instead of going to Regina, I'm not sure how they pronounce that. He went home to Winnipeg to make arrangements for his move to British Columbia. He liked it there, so he planned on moving there with some friends that offered to buy him a plane ticket, and he didn't have to take the bus. But because it's 24-hour bus ride, Tim insisted on taking a Greyhound bus just after midnight on July 30th. The bus number, the bus number was 1170, and it began its 24-hour journey back home. Um, and then, of course, that's where another person in this, there is another person in the story, and his name is Vince Lee. Now, he was born in China. Vince was born April 30th, 1968, and then he moved to Canada in June of 2001, and he ended up going to college there, and he graduated in 2002 with a computer programming degree. He worked in Winnipeg at a church for 6 months, and then he got married and was trying to support his wife, Anna. His old boss at the church would say that Vince seemed like he was really nice and really happy. Um, he would be having a job because he would be having a job there because he needed when he was having a hard time finding other jobs. He seemed very committed. Uh, what he was doing as well. Now, there was a language barrier, obviously, um, and his old boss would say that it was frustrating for Vince because, the lack of communication and not being able to communicate with someone who's just really, who, who's just really frustrating in general. It was obviously, what would you say, that he could tell Vince would get frustrated because of it, and they couldn't communicate, clearly with his coworkers. And Learning a new language is bullshit. It's hard, come on. Um, his old boss would say that Vince showed no signs of aggression. He didn't seem to be angry man. An angry man. So then in 2005, the game started working as a forklift game. That is a game. I don't know. I do the text talk thing and I don't know what I've said there. Anyway, we'll we'll skip that part. Started working as a forklift operator in Winnipeg, and his wife Constantine waitress. And then Vince moved to Edmonton and more frustrated over time because his degree in computer programming hadn't really led him anywhere. He was working these little random jobs, um, and that's not what he went to college for. So he's growing more and more frustrated. And then in 2005, things would um, Vince would become diagnosed with schizophrenia. That's very important, and would be left untreated. That's more important. But him and his wife ended up getting a divorce, and he left a note for his ex-wife Anna saying, "quote I'm gone. Don't look for me. I wish you were happy." And there's no report on what his plan was, or where he was going, what he wanted, or what he was trying to find out there. And seems like Anna wasn't happy, so she was just leaving. I guess she was like, "Good, go." Um, Vince gets on July 29th. He had left apparently. He gets on the Greyhound bus and he is bound for Winnipeg. Now let's look at some pictures. This is Vince. This is Tim. Apparently, this is them two sitting side by side, or this is Tim here. I don't know. And because they were at the very back of the bus. This is a Greyhound bus. That's a Greyhound. That's a bus. This was the bus. I don't want to say. I think it's the next day because it looks like there's something right there that's being covered up. Plus, they're trying to cover up the front. And this is whenever he started attacking him, I guess. I don't know why the people ain't already off there because when the police got there, I think everybody was off the bus. I mean, what happened? What happened? I would be gone. They thought if they cut the lights, that would get him to stop, and he couldn't move the bus. Like take it and go on. But anyway, he was bound for Winnipeg around 6 p.m. Then he got off the bud. Maybe I need some bud. He got off the bus in Ericston, Manitoba, 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 Manitoba. Okay. Vince got off the bus in Ericsson and he had 3 pieces of luggage and he stayed the night on the bench next to the grocery store for it's close to the bus stop. Um, he wanted to hold on to another bus or wait there until another bus came. According to one witness, they say Vince was sitting on the bench. It was like 3. I'm not sure what he was doing at 3 a.m., but whatever. They see Vince sitting like straight up and his eyes are wide open. And they remember this because it was so weird. I'm not sure if anybody Um, y'all saw him, and he sold some of his luggage, I guess, in order to make money. It's not really clear on how he was going to, obtain it. So I think he sold like a computer. Um, Maybe he had some nice luggage and he sold it. I don't know. Maybe he had nice clothes. Someone come along that was his size. I don't know. But yeah, it was a computer and he decided to sell it, make some money, waiting on the next bus to come by. Okay, now finally at 6:55, bus pulls up to the good old bus stop. This is the same bus that Tim is on. Um, Remember, Tim just talked about wanting to pull over and smoke a cigarette. And buses make frequent stops where they let you stretch your legs, smoke a cigarette, pick up new people, grab a snack. And Vince hops on the bus. Now, Vince was a tall man in his 40s. He had a shaved head. He was wearing sunglasses. He seemed to just kind of mind his own business. This is according to the people on the bus. So maybe that was Tim. So when Vince got onto the bus, originally he sat um, in the front of the bus, and Tim was in the back of the bus, in the very very back row, like that one long seat. Um, Tim was in the back, and when you're in the back of the bus, you're kind of cornered, where you don't have many options of getting out. Um, Kind of cornered into the back. Say back one more time. Anyway, back, the back. Anyways, so he gets onto the bus, and they have got done with their little scheduled rest stop, and Tim stepped out so he could have a cigarette, and then of course stretch his legs, get him something to eat, and then he got back on the bus. He goes to the back seat again. Vince gets up from his seat and he goes to the back of the bus and sits next to Tim in an empty seat. Now, I wonder if who wrote the book of love? No. I wonder if Tim hadn't got up, if maybe it drew his attention to him. I don't know. Him, with the diagnosis of schizophrenia, you really don't know what someone's thinking, or the paranoia if he had that. But so Tim's next to the window seat on the right, and then Vince is sitting next to him, and then there was two people sitting in front of them. Tim was like kind of cornered. He was, there would be two seats in front of him, and one of them he would be up against like the window, so there would be that one space there that it would be hard to get out. Tim was friendly, and Vince came and sat next to him. He said hello to him. How's it going? Because he was trying to be nice, and friendly, whatever. Um, Tim puts on his headphones to listen to music and kind of leans his head over on the window. And you could kind of go to bed back there on that seat if there wasn't nobody else. But he was listening to music and he falls asleep. So suddenly, out of nowhere, the passengers um, said Vince brandished and I think he had a knife and scissors, and he started stabbing Tim in the neck and everything, and in his head, and there was a bunch of people that saw all this. Like I said, there was people sitting right in front of them. It was a horrific sight, but you can also can't stop looking. Around 9:30, 10 p.m., the stranded passengers finally were taken and transported to, okay, there's some missing there. Um, so Vince starts stabbing Tim. He has like these big ass like scissors. If your grandma ever sewed clothes, it's like the cutting shears. And then he cuts his head off, he decapitates him. He some of his face, cut it up bad. He's pulling his intestines out and showing people, and I'm not sure if he eat those, but he picked the guy Tim's head up and was showing people outside the head. And a guy tried to get on the bus to maybe, at this point Tim's dead, but that maybe they could get him to stop or something. But he looked at him all crazed, told him to get off the bus. So the guy did. And then he was putting body parts in bags that he had brought. That I wonder what was going on with that. He brought like trash bags and he put the body parts in the trash bags. And this is another scene. There's a thing there. Okay, the next picture I'm getting ready to show. Trigger, trigger, trigger. This is horrific. Now, I don't say that too many times, but this is where he cut like his face off. I think he eat his eyes. Um, he cut him up. He pulled his intestines out. But I had to throw a couple of comedy things in there. This is Vince Lee. This was a witness on the bus, and you can see he's freaked out. I don't know how long after that it was, but they took the passengers to be interviewed at the RCMP detachment. They were questioned, took all their stories. Vince broke one of the back windows in the bus and threw out some of his belongings along with the knife and the scissors that he was using. Vince then decided to jump out the window, and he wasn't necessarily turning himself in. I'm sorry. I mean, you could imagine this. You're sitting there eating somebody and decapitated them, and you got all these cops around you, and you think you're going to get away, turning himself in, but more of trying to run. Um, it wasn't a good plan, obviously. They got him for resisting arrest along with all the other shit. They did taser him, taser, taser. And they got on the bus and they didn't realize he was putting body parts in the trash bags. So Tim's body um, was just mutilated. It was, I mean, his ears, nose, his tongue was all missing. His face, um, his neck was all cut up. Um, so they started looking to the bags. His nose, it says there, um, and they noticed that it was his body parts. I don't know. Maybe he didn't get enough money for the computer and he was thinking ahead and like, look, I'm gonna have to eat. And so this was his way of, And I'm not trying to be funny or stupid, but you never know. You never know about people, man. People are fucking retarded. They're eating people. The passengers had to wait at the Walmart until they took them down to the police station. They took them there also to get new clothes and stuff because they had blood and everything all over their clothes. Um, they sent the passengers on another bus headed back to Winnipeg so they could go home. Vince had his trial on March 3rd, 2009. He pleaded not guilty, not criminally responsible. Now this means other not criminally responsible. So he's pleading that he accepts the offense occurred, but he's saying that he wasn't mentally there. He wasn't in his mental capacity. So technically, it wasn't Vince that done the crime. There was voices in his head, told him he was in danger. He said when he sat down next to Tim and Tim smiled at him and asked how he was doing, Vince said he heard the voice of God telling him he had to kill him or he would die immediately. This is the part that pushes a lot of people um like off the edge, like what? Um, I mean, if this isn't some shit, um, he was charged with second-degree murder, but ended up found not criminally responsible because he was diagnosed with schizophrenia and he failed to take his medications, and he was required to be held in a mental hospital till he got help. After a few years, they said he was good to go. He was all right, so he was discharged. So just know, people, Mr. Lee is walking the streets. But I'm trying to see. There was one lady had tried to sue. A lot of people had PTSD. Um, usually, I'm very harsh about people saying they have PTSD. Um, but in this situation, I could see it. I could definitely see it. Trying to find. I think they could at least get the people that had PTSD some help. One lady was pregnant when she had the baby. She was so fucked up that she lost the baby to social service for like 18 months. One was an alcoholic. Couldn't sleep at night because of the nightmares. The lawsuit against the police, Greyhound, and Vince, but it was later dropped because it was um, said to be unfair or some shit. I don't know because of his mental illness. But they need to like get him some serious help. This is talking about pretty much what I just went over. Meow, meow, meow. Okay, let me see. Let me see. I don't know why I stopped sharing my screen. Some of the facts in the case. Let's see if there's anything that we've not went over yet. I felt that I'd seen something that His eyes were missing and not recovered because he ate them. Let me see if I can. Okay, we're gonna watch a video. I will have to speed this shit up. Meow, meow, meow. This is Tim and one of his friends.
Tonight on the fifth estate, bus of 1170, a night of terror that shocked the nation.
Ever since that day, I haven't been there.
37 passengers, one man on a mission for God.
The fifth estate. Go subscribe. They're good.
There we go. We are recording. Oh, I'm great. I'm and then up there, yeah, there is. Like I said, I was up there at the end of the day. I'm getting for us. Go on. Go on, we're done. I'm for you. So, I'm not good. We have a total of 20 hours left. Here's another guy. Not on an aperture. He was terrible too. His name's John. We don't have 3D eyes. Typically, organized. I don't understand. Not a more interesting news today that I'll chat about. I'm not going to tell you yet. Find out. But pretty sure that's what it is. Hello, I'm Bob McKillin. Welcome to the Fifth Estate.
Yay, internet.
It took place right about here, along this stretch of the Trans-Canada Highway in south-central Manitoba, at 18 kilometers west of Portage la Prairie. What happened here on July the 30th, 2008? It cost one young man his life. It profoundly changed the lives of dozens of others who saw it. It would shock anyone who's heard about it since. It's the story of bus 1170, as told by the people who lived it. As you will see, it's a story in which seemingly unimportant and minor decisions, quirks of fate, would turn out to be the difference between life and death. It is not a story for young children. It signifies. To truly understand the terrible events on that Greyhound bus, you first got to know the doomed young man named Tim McLean. He grew up outside Winnipeg, in a little farming community of Eli, Manitoba. It's the kind of place where kids have to make their own fun. Tim's lifelong friend, Tiffany LaBelle. What was he like then?
It's that. Very, very active. We would probably have to sit down and eat some keyboard for about 2 hours.
Too active and too restless for school, Tim was always eager to interact with everyone around him.
He was not shy at all. Say I would bring him to a gathering or a family gathering, he didn't know those relatives. In 2 seconds, he would know those relatives, make friends with them, and know everything about them, And
I'm gonna be skipping through some of this.
But by 22, the footloose Tim McLean finally had planned. He found a place he wanted to put down roots, Rich London. We're going that way. I'm on the Apple Ferry, getting ready to leave the island. So, yeah, that's not close to the station here. Basically, I'm just walking around the ferry. I'm definitely going to come back here someday. He had no idea then what his future would bring. It was the end of July 2008, and Tim was working the Klondike Days exhibition in Edmonton. The carnival's next stop was Regina. And that's when Tim McLean made a crucial decision.
Regina.
He'd go home to Winnipeg and make arrangements for his move to BC. Unknowingly, he would set into motion a fateful chain of events. Because when friends offered to buy him a plane ticket from Edmonton to Winnipeg, he declined. He told them he'd rather take the Greyhound bus. At the bus depot in Edmonton, just after midnight on July 30th, bus 1170 pulled out to begin its 24-hour journey east, taking Tim McLean home. But he would never get there. After break, the final trip of bus 1170, the night no one aboard will ever forget.
I felt just my stomach turning, and I just knew there was something about this guy. When I saw him, I just knew.
With I don't know what, more than I. Before 5:09 in the morning, on Wednesday morning, 22-year-old Tim McLean was starting a week. They're meeting an accident of fate that would profoundly change both of their lives. And no one knows Vincent Lee better than Dr. Stanley Young.
In this case, it's horrendous, but random, unfortunate set of events. Not a whole lot different than we expect by life for Mr. McLean. Just happened to be in that place at that time. And I see it the same way for Mr. Lee.
Manitoba's chief forensic psychiatrist, Dr. Yaron, conducted a series of interviews with Vincent Lee, which were then transcribed. The dramatizations you'll see tonight are taken directly from those conversations. Actors play both Yaron and Lee. You came to Canada in 2001.
What? I joined the church there. I was baptized and became a Christian. My wife and I disagree about many things. We argue all the time. We're separated.
Though Vincent Lee was well educated, with a Chinese degree in computer science. In Canada, he had a series of low-paying jobs, most recently delivering newspapers in Edmonton. And his new life became even more of a struggle when in 2005 he was diagnosed with schizophrenia, a condition he left untreated. Dr. Stanley Yaron.
We would describe him as not being able to participate in normal social conversations and learn out things that seem to be irrelevant to the conversation, or his mood seemed to be out of context to the conversation.
Vincent Lee told Dr. Yaron that he heard a voice in his head he believed was God, warning him about evil people, ordering him what to do. So, with a few bags in his laptop computer, he boarded the Greyhound bus at the depot in Edmonton. Same route Tim McLean would travel 24 hours later. He also carried a hunting knife he recently purchased.
I cut the knife a penny entirely. God told me my life was in danger, and that people would try to kill me.
On the bus, Vincent Lee sat quietly. His plan was to go all the way through to Winnipeg. He had done that. He and Tim McLean would never have met. But it wasn't to be.
I don't know if you can see this or not.
The bus from
Kill me.
Harrison is a small town where visitors tend to stand out. 15-year-old Darren Beatty was pumping gas the day Vincent Lee arrived. He sat on the bench outside the co-op grocery store. For some reason, Vincent Lee decided to change seats. He started walking slowly towards the rear.
He looked at every single person as he walked down before sitting down at the final spot.
Lee stopped right at Stephen Allison's row. He sat down next to Tim McLean.
I felt just my
Oh,
stomach turning.
I didn't know you sat that close to him. I thought he sat
When I
on the
saw
other
him,
side.
I just knew.
So this is each other. Why did he tell you separate?
He said to me that it was simply because Tim gave him a friendly acknowledgement as he walked by the seat. Something like, "Hi, how are you doing?" Something of that nature.
Then Tim McLean fell back to sleep, but Stephen Allison couldn't keep his mind off Vincent Lee.
That he had been odd the whole time. He had with him a clear bottle of cool Nest tea and a roll of toilet paper and did not have it. And when he wanted to drink, he sit there, put the roll of toilet paper under his chin, and open it, and then put it back on. Was he saying anything? At one point, he was closer to when it happened. He was sitting there rocking back and forth, chanting something. But it wasn't in English, so I didn't know what it said. So that was really, really weird. That was like, okay, something's going down, something's going to happen. But my second thought was, if I get up, go, and start saying something, he might say, "Oh, great, someone's found me out," and then look over and see my wife sitting next to me. And so I go up to her and say,
Outside, on that stretch of the Trans-Canada Highway, it was getting dark. Inside, the movie on the video system, the mask absorbed.
There were no lights on, just the TV that was going with the video. And
On the Winnipeg. Next to him was 40-year-old Vincent Lee, a recent Canadian citizen. He wasn't apparent yet, but he suffered from schizophrenia, a voice in his head telling him what to do. And across the aisle from Lee was college student Stephen Allison, convinced something terrible was about to happen.
I saw him kicked out tonight. I guess that has been the point when he snapped and just gone crazy. Looking at a crazy man in sunglasses with an unsheathed knife, staring right at me. So I knew that.
Stephen Allison watched in horror as Vincent Lee turned to his right and started to stab Tim McLean.
I was yelling at the top of my lungs, "Stop the bus, someone's getting stabbed." So pretty sure half the people heard me, and the ones that didn't heard the commotion that came up seconds later.
Allison says for him the priority had to be getting everyone else away from Vincent Lee.
The minute he turned, I stood up and ran down the aisle.
Haley Shaw was seated in the middle of the bus, and Stephen Allison rushed past.
he ran yelling, pull over, get out of the bus as fast as you can. So when they're shoving each other into the aisle, trying to get out as fast as we could.
And behind her, there were the horrifying sounds of Lee's attack on Tim McLean.
I was able to hear Tim McLean scream. Still can't speak to hear him scream. He said, "What happened? What happened?"
As the others frantically pushed past, Stephen Allison saw three people trapped behind him at the back of the bus. A mother, her young son, and his wife. And when he got back to the wife, what was going on?
Well, at that point, Tim tried to jump over into.
So what happened next?
And then during this time, eventually, then he kneeled down over Tim McLean's body. That's what we had started watching behead.
What's going through your mind?
I never wanted to hurt somebody so severely in my life until that point. That stars a Georgetown.
Then Vincent Lee started up the aisle towards him.
Yes, was headed one hand in my finger.
Armed only with that metal bar, Aldwyer and the other man backed out of the bus and barricaded the door.
It's a tough decision. The hardest decision there was that there's women and children and other men who are counting on me, I suppose, to not let this guy get away. And if I was thinking about myself ahead of them, I would have tried to take him out to say, well, what did he do? He walked up to the door.
Filing Tim McLean's remains. They did provide a running radio commentary of what he was doing. They called him Badger.
Badger appears to be 6 foot tall, Asian male, short dark hair, black t-shirt, armed with a knife right now. Badger is armed with a knife and a pair of scissors, and he's defiling the bush at the front of the bus. He doesn't want to introduce your information. Badger's at the back of the bus, hacking off pieces and eating it.
Evidently, the Mountie strategy was simply to wait him out. For more than 4 hours, they kept their distance and watched as Lee continued to cannibalize the body of Tim McLean.
Did they explain that to him? Did they rationalize it? No? I guess maybe perhaps I was a little bit irrational wanting them to take him out.
It's found parts of Tim McLean's body scattered all over the bus. It was a headline story in Canada, the US, and around the world, but the identity of the victim would remain a mystery, at least officially, for the next 24 hours. Like everyone else, Carol Dedella, Tim McLean's mother, heard it first the next day on the news. Then, as usual, she cooked Thursday dinner at the local senior. Inside the mind of Vincent Lee, expected to be executed. That would be the outcome of his involvement in this. Tim McLean was buried near his family and friends in Winnipeg. He would have been 24 years old this year. For his dad, Tim Sr., and stepmother Nadine. Meanwhile, the tragedy on bus 1170 is still taking its toll. Stephen Allison was an honor student. Now he says he's barely able to get through a class.
A very friendly, outgoing person. And this past year, I barely went out, barely talked to anyone. Like I can talk to him.
Okay, I just kind of wanted to give you the gist of stuff. And like I said, this guy went to the mental institution, and after a few years, they said he's good. He is out walking the streets. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and I will talk to you later. Bye.